Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Outside the Cinema. It's Chockers.
You didn't even wait
Why would I wait?
2 minutes before you used a new word. Good for you.
Chockers. Yeah, well, no, I'm drinking Chris obviously is the only one that got to see it or hear about it, but I'm drinking this new Monster energy drink called Aussie style lemonade. And it's got like this 5-paragraph explanation on the side of it as to what it is. But they definitely use the word chockers.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's Australian slang for energy drink that will burn the bottom of your stomach lining.
Sure.
That's all it could really mean, right? Anyway, welcome back to the show, everybody. Glad to have you. I can talk this week.
Oh, chocka means crowded or full, at or near capacity, tightly packed, especially with people.
Okay.
So it's chocka full of stuff. I get it.
Well,
I get it.
How did you spell that?
CHOKKA.
Oh, KKA, chogga.
Yeah.
No, it's actually spelled CHOCKERS. It's chocka.
I see. Never mind.
It's chocka Khan. Yeah, I can talk this week. I still, believe it or not, have a little bit of I can feel it a tiny bit. Everyone says I sound normal again. I still have a little bit of I can still feel it just a tiny bit, and I definitely am still coughing stuff up. So man, like I got that cold like real bad.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I feel good today, so I feel good today. I'm full of energy. Every now and then I'll go but I learned that from watching you. So
yeah, well, I'm good at it. You know, if you're gonna do it right. So.
Obviously, learn from the best of them. We start our run of what is probably going to be like 2 months of Patreon picks. Very excited about it. Not really. That's not true. I'm actually excited about it. There's some really good picks coming up. It's like we got this thing with our listeners, and especially the guys that are the supporters. The guys and gals. There are some gals.
Oh yes.
There's like this like fine line of wanting to torture us and then also providing us something with like general like really good entertainment. So there's like the two people. There's the guy in the basement that's like I'm going to give them brats. I say it jokingly, but was it Dave? Oh, crap! Make sure I get it right. Make sure I get that. I think it was David that gave us brats, and he's like, "Am I allowed?" I told him, and then at some point I told him he wasn't allowed. He wasn't allowed to give us suggestions anymore. Yeah, David. And we just had a conversation back and forth about he gave me his picks, which I think I actually need to add to the master list because he sent them to me through Facebook.
Okay.
So he goes, hey, may I suggest a movie or am I still on timeout?
Timeout, that's awesome.
And my response was, since I don't remember why we put you on timeout, then I would say, yeah, you can make a suggestion. And he made his suggestions. And he goes, also, it was because of brats. My response simply...
rescinded.
My response simply, oh, shit. David goes on to say, maybe I shouldn't have told you. And I said, well, maybe we need to talk about this then. So he gave me a couple of flicks. I'll bring them up when we get to them. And he goes, maybe these films will be my redemptions, but I doubt it. And I said, maybe, dude, Bratz was real bad.
Bratz was never intended to be good.
Then he apologized profusely. And he goes, but having a Patreon subscription to the show helps a little, right? And I said, Bratz, dude. Brats.
Oh, come on. It wasn't that bad. I don't even remember what it was about.
Funny you say that, because I then went on to say, it's all good, honestly. I don't remember. It's all good, honestly. I remember it being really bad, but I definitely don't remember anything about it specifically.
Okay.
His response, probably for the best.
Yeah.
So thanks, David. We'll get your picks worked into the schedule, too. But yeah, so this week we are doing two. First of all, if you want to suggest films and you're already a member of the Patreon, please send them over. I would recommend sending them to me through the messenger in Patreon, just so I can keep them all together. I've added David's; it's not a big deal. But I had sit down a message on Patreon. Just respond to that. But yeah, so we got a whole bunch of stuff. We're starting this week. So we're going to start with one that was suggested by two different listeners, Rob and also Josh, our good buddy, the Goot, suggested Siege, 1983. So we're doing that one this week, and then we're also doing a second one of Rob's picks, which is one that I picked specifically for you.
Yeah.
Godzilla versus Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
This is the run of Godzilla films that I'm not super familiar with. Not the Showa era. It's the what era is it technically?
Is it Heisei? I can't remember.
Heisei?
I can't
right.
keep those straight because I never really committed it to memory. I know Showa is like
it's the original run.
It's like show me all the goofy Godzilla movies.
Show me your tits. What?
No, you don't want to see them. You really don't.
So those are the two that we're doing this week. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think there's some great stuff on this list here too. There is definitely a few things in there we're going to have some trouble. We're going to have some trouble tracking down. And those of you guys that suggested like a whole bunch of stuff, we're going to pick and choose a few. Just because, I mean, I've got a list from Shane here that basically is like, I'm going to program the show for the next 6 months. I'm like, he suggested 2 different trilogies in there.
Yeah, I saw.
So, and there is definitely some stuff that was suggested that we have already covered.
Yes.
But actually, we could look at if we want to go back and do them again. That's why we could just talk about this right now while we're here. Howard has suggested Ken Russell's The Devils, which I know that we reviewed. It's been a few years now.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do any better than what we did originally.
Yeah, so Howard, if you want to send another suggestion, and please do. I don't remember which episode The Devils was in. It wasn't like crazy long ago. It wasn't like 9 years ago or something like that, but it's at least a couple years ago.
No, it's inside like 4, isn't it?
4 something. Yeah, that sounds right.
Oh, no, I meant within 4 years.
I thought you meant like 400 and something, which would also
shit,
be
I have no
years.
fucking idea.
Which would also probably be within 4 years. So if you want to shoot over another suggestion, he does have another one here, which is an Italian Polizia flick, which I do have. So we'll make sure we get to that one. Shane had suggested some of the Three Mothers trilogy. He suggested the Three Mothers trilogy. We've done Suspiria. We've done. Did we do the second one? Did we do Inferno? We did Inferno.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did
What's
Inferno.
the third?
Mother of Tears. I think we may have done Mother of Tears too, actually.
Maybe, but that doesn't pop to the top of my head. But that doesn't mean
real
anything
bad.
either.
It's real bad because it's like 2014 Dario Argento.
Oh.
So, So we'll have to talk about that. Born of Fire. That is one of Vishnu's picks. That's one of those folk horror flicks, right?
I don't know. What is it? Born of Fire?
Born of Fire, 1987.
Huh. What did you say? It's one of the what?
I think it's a folk horror. It's like a UK folk horror flick. It was
a
featured
musician
in that,
searches for the master flautist, a supernatural creature who is planning to blow up the world.
Oh, that actually sounds dope. Yeah, we definitely haven't covered that.
A lot.
Oh, you know what? I'm sorry.
Never...
I'm confusing. I'm sorry. I'm confusing it with Eyes of Fire that we did a little while back.
Oh, okay, yeah.
My apologies. And did we mention this on the show last week that Ollie's suggestion was a film called Troll Snatch that none of us seem to know what it is?
No.
So, Ollie, my friend, like, I gather that it's a joke, I think, because that's not a real film as far as I can tell. But I don't know what it's in reference to. And he's like, I'm still holding out for my Troll Snatch review. And I'm like, what is this dude talking about?
Is that an old joke we're not familiar with?
It must have been something that we must have said in passing or something. We were like, maybe we were talking about like porn parodies or something. And we meant, I don't know. I don't remember. But he didn't send like an actual like pick. That's what he put. He's like, I'm still holding out for my review of Troll Snatch.
Okay.
Well, there it is.
Yes, Godzilla versus Space Godzilla. I had to look it up because I wasn't sure if it was Millennium or Heisei, and it's Heisei.
Okay.
By
I'm not
by like
familiar with
4
those at all.
years. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's close,
Yeah,
but there's differentiation there.
Yeah, I'm just not familiar with a lot of that era of Godzilla. Like, I feel like I've seen all of them.
You probably have. It's 84 to 95. So we're looking at Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. What else we got on here? What the fuck? Where's the list of the movie? Oh, there we go. Return of Godzilla, Biollante,
okay.
Those.
All right.
So, and then the
Leading
Millennium
up to,
Era. The TriStar Pictures, we'll skip over into the Millennium series, which is 99 to 2004. So that starts off with Godzilla 2000.
Okay.
And then
I do
Mechagodzilla, Tokyo SOS, Final Wars.
All right, I want to do Siege first before we get into Godzilla. Because Siege is like right up our alley in terms of like what we do, like 1980s, like things that are not able to be made today.
Yeah. Well, actually, I think you could make this one today.
You could remake this for sure. You need to make some changes, I think. But so Siege 1983, Rob and Josh both suggested this. If you would like to check it out, it is available to watch on Tubi. Here is a trailer. Is that playing on the thing? Damn it! God damn it. I thought I fixed this last week.
Well, you did, and then it unfixed itself in the 6 days in between.
Oh, hold on, everybody. I've got to get this to work. I can't keep every single week being like, oh, what's going on here? And it's all because I went away.
Yep.
Every time I go away, everything ceases to work.
Oh, yeah. Everything misses you, and it tries to get itself to work.
All right. There we go. We should be good now. All right. I don't know what I just did, but I definitely hit the wrong button. All right.
Black
Damn it!
What did you watch that I didn't?
Nothing. I did start that Danny Boyle Sex Pistols series, though.
I'm not interested.
It's pretty good, man. So far, I'm only like 2 episodes in, but it's good.
I hate Johnny Rotten.
Well, yeah. If you watch this series, you'll hate him then too.
Oh, no, I mean, like, I hate him to the point where I see him, I say, fuck you, and I change whatever internet page or whatever I'm on.
A police strike paralyzes an entire city and unleashes a violent new order. Suddenly, every citizen must arm and protect themselves.
What do we got to defend ourselves with?
The attackers have every kind of weapon. The innocent defenders have only their courage and their cunning to survive the siege. Siege. Today, their city. Tomorrow, yours.
Nice little Canucksploitation, directed by Paul Donovan. Oh, I don't know what that was. Paul Donovan. Let's see here. DEFCON 4. He was a producer on that.
Best known, I think, is the writer, creator, director of the sci-fi TV show Lex.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, very
his-
happy with that.
Yeah, most of his stuff that he's known for is his writing work.
Yeah,
Not
and
a
it's all
lot of-
kind
not
of
a lot of directing
little
stuff.
off center, isn't it? It's all a little. Oh, well, that's a
Yeah.
little weird.
He directed Norman's Awesome Experience.
Okay,
Oh,
I haven't
I'd
heard
love
of
to
that.
Revisit. Oh, it's he's like a scientist or something, and like they get sent back in time
Huh?
to like the Roman Empire.
Okay.
It's like a comedy. It's like you could put it in the same ilk as stuff like Weird Science and like Real Genius and stuff like
Oh,
that.
all right.
It's
That
actually
might be
it's actually,
interesting.
if I remember it being really good, and I remember DEFCON 4 also being really good.
That's one I never watched, but I love the cover art for.
Yeah, that's something we could go back to and watch too. It's been a long time since I've seen that. But so this guy's got a pedigree. This guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Director Paul Donovan.
I want to put this out right in the beginning. The biggest and pretty much only problem I have with this movie is the sound the guns make. You heard it in the trailer. They sound like knockoff laser guns that you get from the dollar store. It's really it lightens the mood, which I don't think is the intention, because there's
it's
really
definitely not
dark
the intention.
message in this. So I was disappointed by that, but whatever. I mean, really, it's not that bad.
No, I agree. Hey, do me a quick favor before I forget. Turn your mic down just a tiny bit.
Oh yeah.
When I was doing the show last week, you were like significantly louder than I was.
Where am I plugged in here?
Oh yeah, look at that. There he goes. There he is, down low. Chris is down low. Look at him go.
Yep, because I hide it down here. Off of the table. Keep some space. How's that? Any better?
I think that's better. Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell when we were recording. I just noticed it when I went back. So anyway, so yes, Siege, also known under the title Self-Defense, Canadian production, part of what you would look at as the Canexploitation run of films, because it takes place in Nova Scotia. It's very Canadian in the way it's presented. The only thing in this movie that does not seem very Canadian is the people, because everything I know of the Canadians and everything I've experienced myself when I've been in Canada has been nothing but delightful.
Yeah, but you've never been in Canada in the 70s during the police strike in Nova Scotia, so...
This is true. So the story here is very simple. It's not anything that you haven't heard before or seen before. The film was called Siege, for crying out loud. So the backdrop of this is, for the first time in the history of the province of Nova Scotia, the police department has gone on a full strike. So there's no police working.
Total RoboCop 2 over there.
Right. So there's no police working other than like the higher-ups and the management. And obviously, this is a movie, so everybody that can try to get away whatever that they want to get away with does. So crime goes out of control, and they just can't keep up and can't keep up with it. So this, of course, is the early 1980s, and is one thing we have learned from the 1980s. The general populace did not like the gay scene.
No, and the slur, the F slur, which I've cut out, and I only refer to as that now because I was...
The other F word is how I refer to it.
Corrected. No, I say fuck all the time. What was my point? Oh, my God. This movie, like, Monster Squad has that word in it, like, once, right? Goonies has it in there, like, once. Blaxploitations have it in there, like, 3 times.
Yep.
Half the script is slang for a cigarette in England.
The other F word.
Yeah.
But it's used in the proper context of how you want to paint the people that are using it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bigots.
So it's...
Yeah.
So it's not like people using it as a joke.
Right.
They're using it because they genuinely don't like gay people.
No, it's the difference between, oh, don't be a because you're joking around, and a get out here because we're gonna fucking shoot you in the face.
Yes.
So
or as we learned in this movie, the back of the head.
Or all of them everywhere, all over with their pew pew laser gun.
Right. So we find this group of biggity white men.
Biggity
white
That's
men.
That's a great word.
Makes it sound so much nicer than it actually is.
Oh, yeah.
Biggity white men going into this underground gay bar and basically just like being complete fucking pieces of shit.
Yeah.
Telling people, calling them names, torturing them verbally and then also physically. Their intention when they enter the place is to really just, as they say, have a good time and, just give these guys a hard time and let them know that basically that we don't like them and we don't want them here.
With sticks, pipes, and baseball bats.
Right.
That's how I enter into conversations.
Right. So these guys come in heavily armed and there's a bunch of them. somewhere in the neighborhood, 5 or 6 guys come in, and there's
Yeah.
probably a few more people than that in the bar. A couple of women, mostly men. I think it was only 2 women and mostly men. Maybe about 8 or 9 people or so.
Yeah.
Basically,
They were
go to the
evenly
bartender.
matched. With no weapons, they were evenly matched.
Right. So he goes to the bartender and he starts giving the bartender a hard time. He tells the bartender to give him a drink. The guy prepares him a drink, but he has a gun hidden under the register, and he pulls the gun out on the guys, and he's like, "Hey, listen, just get out of here." He's like, "We don't want any trouble. Just get out of here." And he starts giving him the like, "Oh, F word. You're not gonna shoot me. You don't have it in you. Blah 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 blah." And then the dude pulls the trigger, but the gun does not go off. So they knock it out of his hand.
Yeah, because he made the mistake of coming out from behind the bar.
Right.
Which got him closer to people with weapons.
Right. So as soon as he takes the gun and fires it, surprises the guy, the white bigot guy, and then they knock it out of his hand and they beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
In the process, some glass gets knocked off of the table or knocked off of the bar and breaks and lands on the floor, but it's like a beer bottle and it breaks in half and it's standing up. So like it landed on its bottom and it's sticking up. So they're fighting with him, and of course, because every white bigoty guy that is this hateful of homosexuals is obviously got a deep rooted sense of their curiosity and maybe is wrestling with some feelings. So rather than just like beating the shit out of the guy, they're gonna take his pants off and they're gonna sodomize him. And it's just so gross in the way they do it, and but again, in terms of filmmaking, it's done very well because you're immediately like, oh man, fuck these guys.
Yeah, but then also in the back of your head, you're like, this has happened to hundreds, if not thousands of people.
For sure.
Or millions.
For sure.
I mean, Jesus, through history, God damn it,
I know,
there's a
it's
bunch
ridiculous.
of shit people out there.
Everyone wants to talk shit on Caligula. At least that guy had fun with everybody. So, I can't believe I just said that.
The Marquis de Sade, actually.
Actually, if you want to get into the deepness of it.
No, don't take that deep.
No. Fair. Moving on. So they're trying to pull his pants down. He's wrestling around. They've got him up on the table. He rolls off of the table and falls onto the floor back first onto the bottle, and the bottle sticks, obviously, right through his back into his heart. He's laying on the ground, and then everyone stops as because he immediately stops moving.
Yes.
And he stops, and they're all like, "Whatever, man, get up, F word."
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And they're like, whatever, he's just fooling around, blah, blah, blah. There's nobody's fooling around, right? And then
they are. They don't see what they're doing as a crime, which is the worst thing out of all of it. Maybe.
Right. So they realize this dude's dead.
Yeah, because the front of his shirt, you get a little bleed through, and they're like,
yeah,
what?
it starts to pool up under the shirt. And they're like, this was not part of the plan.
Right.
And then you have, like as usual in the group, you have the guys that are like, oh, whatever. And then the guy that's like, I don't know, guys. This is taking really far. We got to get out of here. So we learn that they're part of this new gang called the New World Order. Well, they're called the New Order.
Very yeah, well.
I wish they were the New World Order. I wish Hulk Hogan was Horatio.
Jeez, I wish they could have just been that
championship
Ministry album. That would have been fine, too. That one song. That's
Kevin Nash and Scott Hall walk in and just start too sweeting everybody. They just
yeah.
We got to call Horatio, who's the guy that's the head of the gang. Which at this point we start to realize that like this is more than just some dudes like fucking around. They're like they're an organized group of like militia that is basically like looking to take over things. But these guys went rogue. This was not part of the plan.
Yeah, so they call in Walter Wolf. I mean,
Yeah. So Tom Nardini comes in, who plays Horatio, who is probably best known as like he was on like Gunstock and shit like that. Like, he comes in and they're explaining the situation, and he's basically like, well, this was not supposed to go down like this. You guys could expose us and expose the whole operation, and you fucked up.
Yeah.
So now they've got all the guys and the girls tied up, like, and they're all like on their knees and they're lined up. And this dude takes out his gun with his silencer and just starts in the back of everybody's head. So they went from having a thing where they weren't planning on murdering or hurting or well, maybe hurting, but like they weren't planning on
Right.
murdering or killing anyone. To now, this dude is gonna pop 9 people.
No witnesses.
No witnesses. That's exactly what it is. It's the no witnesses,
Yep.
and that's where the whole siege of the movie comes from.
Right.
So one of the
and
guys,
definitely the suppressor that he used on that gun was really, really, really treated like a silencer because it was like the difference between a gun going pow and this was like, hey buddy, you're dead. And it's like that's not how they work. That's not how suppressors work. Like, but then that leads you through to the Sterlings that they're using later, going pew 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 pew, and it kind of it really does take away from the tension. Just hearing out
for sure. So one of the guys has a little pocket knife in, and he's able to untie himself and get out of the room.
He's zip-tied together by his thumbs.
It looked very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But he's able to get himself loose, and he gets out of there, and then everyone's on the chase trying to catch him. And we have a nice little chase sequence that goes on for about 5-10 minutes where he's like jumping over fences and running through apartment buildings, and eventually he gets to a point where he ends up in an apartment in one of the apartment buildings with a group of people that are teachers or assistants or something at a school for the blind, and they have a couple of the older students there, and they're basically waiting to take these guys back back to the school. And this guy comes in and he's like, "You need to help me. You know, they killed everybody. They're chasing me down."
Right.
So
of course they're
bring
going to
him in.
help.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So they bring him in. The guys show up at the door, and they're like, "Hey, listen, we're looking for this guy. He's wanted for murder of 9 people." And they're like, "We're with the authorities," or they were like, "We're helping the authorities or something, so we need to bring him in." And this dude's like, "I don't think so, man." He's like, "Well, you gotta let us in, man, because if you're harboring a fugitive, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble." And he's like, "I'm still not buying it."
Yeah, no, because the police are on strike, so fuck off.
Right, but he's trying to play it off like he's helping the police, like, you know, we're helping out while the police are on strike. And he's like, "So you got to let us in, otherwise you're harboring him." He's like, "Yeah, I don't buy that.
Right.
So you guys should probably leave." And he's like, "Well, now you done fucked up because I'm not responsible for what happens to you because of him tonight." And we're like, "Okay, so here's the true siege of the flick." And the flick goes on to have them basically defending their home. While being sieged by a number of these guys from the New World Order.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, Hulk Hogan does not show up and leg drop anybody, or maybe fortunately, because he turned out to be a piece of shit anyway.
I would like to say, talking about pieces of shit, this movie and the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre do something that most movies don't do. They turn they have the handicapped people as normal, dickish, asshole, self-centered, whatever kind of people. There's 2 blind people. Well, one is nearly almost 100% blind, and the other one is completely. And like they just act selfish. One of them does. Kind of like, what was his? Was it Francis? Was that his name in Chainsaw?
Francis, yes.
He was such a fucking asshole the whole movie, and that actually took. I think that took a lot of balls to portray someone in a wheelchair as just a normal person. Because isn't there always this want to not portray people that are already having a hard time as dicks? You don't want to do that, but this movie did it, and so did Chainsaw, and you don't see that, and I really appreciate that.
Well, it's just like, I mean, anytime you watch like a true crime show or whatever, and they're talking about somebody that got murdered, it's never like, "Well, yeah, he was kind of a fucking dick." It was always like, he was the most giving person in the world. He would have given the shirt off his back to anyone who needed it.
Yeah.
He was just a man that brought love to everybody.
Yeah.
So, it's so sad that he's gone. It's never like, "Well, he was kind of a fucking dick, and he kind of deserved it because he stole my skateboard from me when I was in 8th grade, and I don't really fucking care that he's gone, but, you know, maybe they'll find the guy that did it so no one else gets hurt."
Yeah.
You know what I mean, though? There's never, like, it's never a situation like that. It's always like, "Oh, she was an angel." Yes, addicted to angel dust and like, you know what I mean though?
And that's not her real name. Her real name was Crystal. No, wait, that was her nickname too because she loved crystal meth. I don't know what's going on with her. She's a mess.
She's gone now, so I mean,
More
I hope nobody
meth
else
for
gets
the rest
hurt.
of us.
That's all right, yeah. So, man, I totally lost my train of thought. Where are we at right now? So yeah, the siege is on, and it's
Get Glenn
and
Fry.
shit. Yeah, and shit. The siege is on. It's on the third floor.
Oh yeah.
So they got snipers set up with thermal vision. This New World Order that they got, they're like these dudes are ready to militia their way like to the like House of Congress or whatever, because they've got all these like state of the art guns. They got heat vision and like thermal radar and like all this
that
stuff.
scope that dude had on his rifle. Like I understand low budget stuff fine, and you're trying to make things look like super
Low
like,
budget
high
Canadian
tech.
at that.
Yeah, and the scope on this dude's gun, like a slight breeze makes the fucking thing shake all over the place. Right?
I know, right?
But I'm like, you know what? They tried. And really
They
the
did try.
only thing I'm faulting them on in this whole thing, not
They
the
did try.
guns that were used, nothing. Just the fucking bullet noises, that's all.
The sound of the bullets.
Yep.
So, so this group of them with like their neighbor, they decide to fight back, and they fucking MacGyver some shit with some friggin' like electrocute a way to electrocute the guy if he touches the doorknob. And
Oh,
they
that
got,
was
like,
awesome. Yeah.
homemade explosives and all this great shit. And I'll say the killing of the characters, man, like even the good or the bad guys, whatever, like it's pretty harsh and like pretty violent, but also like very imaginative in like this like actually quite creative sort of way.
Yes.
And I really enjoyed how like kind of like realistic they were able to keep that stuff in terms of the way like they prepared and like the other guys on the other side and like don't stand near the windows.
Right. Yeah, because if you did this, fuck it, I lost my train of thought, but I'll remember. Go ahead.
Well, and so basically they've got the guy that escaped there. His name is Danielle, and like I loved also that he was just like a broken shell, like virtually the whole movie. Like he ends up helping at the end, but like there's a point where he disappears, and I was like, what the fuck? I'm like, this is this guy's fault. Where the fuck did he go? And then we the main character finds him hiding in like the closet, or like under the sink or some shit, and he's like, Danielle, you all right? And he's like, I'm so sorry. I just got so scared and I couldn't do it. And it was like, okay.
Yeah.
Way to explain the missing character.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great.
Absolutely, because you know what? He's been through a lot. So this was realistic. I mean, aside from, the guns going off and literally nobody responds. But then again, the guns were like,
right, but they also set you up that there aren't going to be any police. And in case you forgot
Right.
they try to call the police and basically get an answering machine that's like, hi, we're not home right now.
yeah.
Please let us know what your emergency is and we'll come pick the bodies up tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah. Put them out on the curb and we'll just drive by.
It's great. The music is good. You can tell it's on a low budget, but it really works so well. It's got great atmosphere to it.
Yeah.
They were smart. They kept it small, like kind of within the constraints of the one building.
A
the
real
actors all
building
worked-
too. A real building,
Yeah.
a real apartment.
Yeah.
Like it was cramped. It was dirty. It looked like like it didn't cost a lot to rent.
No, definitely
all that
not.
stuff.
Especially 1982 Nova Scotia money.
Yeah.
I loved this, man. I thought this was great. I really liked it.
Yeah.
I liked everything about it. I liked the music. I liked the actors. It was good stuff. This is the type of 80s like low budget thriller stuff that I just eat up.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's grade. Chris, do you recommend it? What is your grade for The Siege? Or just Siege, sorry.
Siege, right? You can't look up The Siege, or you're gonna have to watch a Bruce Willis movie.
Also not the end of the world, though.
Well, it depends how late into his career, right? And I'm
No,
not
Siege is
making
all right.
I'm not making fun of anything that's happened to him, but the quality of movies he was in declines, and that's not necessarily his fault. except for Cop Out. But I absolutely recommend this. I love that we did this during Pride Month, which is you know, a good reason. Yeah. It shines a very harsh, uncomfortable light on how people were treated. And it's interesting because, like, up until this point, for most movies that we've watched in the genre of movies that we watch, gay people are either like a stupid or funny sidekick, or they are the bad guy in a blaxploitation movie, for instance.
Yes, very true.
We don't really ever get a lot where they are completely innocent of what is going on and a victim of real life society shit.
Or even portrayed as human half the time. Like it's like they're mostly portrayed as like second class citizens. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah, and completely over the top with effeminate behavior, because that's the only way gay people act, apparently. Because Rock Hudson wasn't a thing, right? Freddie Mercury wasn't a thing. So whatever. Anyway, so I was very impressed with this. I was initially because the kids were home. I didn't have it turned up that loud because Jesus Christ, I sound like a white supremacist with that shit playing. I mean, really, close your windows if you're gonna watch this.
Travis, I mean, if like, I think Travis walked through when I was watching this, and he was like, "What's happening?" I'm like, "Just keep on walking." He's like,
yeah,
all right.
I had explained to Nova that I said they're the bad guys. It's made in the 70s. This is the point. This is they get theirs in the end. You know, that kind of thing. I said, but that's how people were. Know the history of your people, kid. So anyway, yes, I'm gonna recommend this. It's very well done. It's tense. Ignore the fake bullet sounds. I'm gonna. This is a surprising movie. It's got a very surprising message, I think, for the title. I never would have expected that. So I'm gonna go B+. I'd go higher if the guns made bullet noises.
It's funny that you brought the guns up so many times, because honestly, like, I never even really thought about it.
Oh, guns have been on my mind for a while.
Right. Well, yes. I mean, you know what I mean, though. Like, the sound of the guns in this film didn't affect me in any way, shape, or form either way.
Oh, the guns they used, the Sterlings, are what was the basis. They built stormtrooper rifles over those. So anytime I see that, I think Stormtrooper, and then when I hear it sound like a sci-fi gun, I'm like, ugh. So that's what got my attention with it.
Ah, okay, fair.
So,
but they didn't affect my enjoyment in this movie in any way, shape, or form. I really liked this, so I'm giving it a pretty high recommend. Actually, It's been a little while since we got a good '80s thriller that like felt real, looked good. We knew it was on a shoestring budget, and it didn't affect it in any way, really. So I'm giving it a very high recommend. If you listen to this show, this is a movie you definitely want to make sure you check out. And I'm actually mad that I'd never seen it before, because it's so up my alley.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give it an A-, man. I really enjoyed this. It's probably my favorite movie I think we've watched on the show yet for this year so far. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. I want to thank both Rob and Josh for suggesting it.
You know, I was back and forth on the A- or B+, and I'm gonna go with you.
You're such a copycat, man.
Same as you.
Get your own deal, man.
All right, I give it an A.
What? No.
There you go. Better than you. It's a third higher.
Oh, well, I give it an A+.
Well, I give it that secret letter that comes before A.
I don't know what I give it. No, but obviously both really enjoyed it. In the U.S., you can watch it on Tubi. It's free. So check it out, man. Yeah, no, it's good stuff. It's good stuff. All right. Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, 1994.
Yep.
Yeah, well, here's a trailer.
宇宙レーダーに異常物体高速で地球に接近しています。
宇宙怪獣が来る。 ペースゴジラを倒せるパイロットは前しかない。
破壊神降臨。
私たち人類への警告だわ。
ゴジラを手に入れた者が勝利者になる。
ゴジラは誰のものでもないわ。
奴の息の根を止めるんだ。スパイラルグレネードミサイルファイヤー。
今地球の存亡をかけた最終戦争が始まる。ゴジラ対スペースゴジラ。
I love whoa, 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 you're coming at me all wrong. Jesus. No one cares.
I'm leaning back like I don't have headphones on, and that'll get me further away from the sound.
Gojira versus Super Gojira.
Yeah.
Kensho Yoshimita. And then it's also obviously inspired by a number of the other guys. I'm going to kind of defer to you on this one because you have a little bit, well, not a little bit, a lot more knowledge into kind of the Godzilla lore and fare than I do. So why don't I let you take the reins and kind of run through the synopses and stuff.
Okay. I still have a lot to learn, but
but you know far more than I do.
I'm gonna defer so I stay on track. I'm gonna reference the official synopsis of it just so I don't, because I'll go
That's
off
fair.
on tangents. So Godzilla fought a plant monster in like 1990, Biolante, which is an amazing looking monster, by the way.
Also, my favorite Enrique Iglesias song, Biolante, look
All
at
right.
music, take control.
See, that's what would happen if I didn't have this in front of me. So cells from Godzilla in that fight were made their way up into space because why not? And they're irradiated by a black hole, and then Space Godzilla is born. Now, Space Godzilla is like an angry version. Space Godzilla is a new age angry version of Godzilla. He's Godzilla, he's mad, and he's covered in crystals, which is actually, at first, I thought was really stupid, but I love the design so much now.
It looks cool.
It does.
Looks cool.
I actually, I have a few of the vinyl ones. Let's see. Who are they? No, it's two different Godzillas. Gigan, Megalon, Jet Jaguar, Baby Godzilla. But I want to get a Space Godzilla and find crystals that I can actually fit into his shoulders, so it doesn't look like just fake plastic. Not that plastic isn't real. Plastic is real. So anyway, the United Nations, I'm reading this, United Nations Godzilla Countermeasure Center on Birth Island are going to put a mind control device on Godzilla. Because why not? Right?
As they've been known to do.
Yeah. The Mothra's twins start warning one of our characters, Miki Sagusa, that Space Godzilla is coming. And we're introduced to Mogira, which is a replacement for Mechagodzilla. And Mogira stands for Mobile Operations G-Force Unit Expert Robot Aerotype.
Happy, shiny, fun time.
Yeah. Now, I initially didn't like Mogira. I thought it was a goofy design when he showed up in, what was it, the Mysterians, I want to say.
Question mark of the Mysterians?
So, but Mogira is actually not a bad mech. Clearly, though, Mogira is no match for Space Godzilla. Space Godzilla is kind of a dick because he immediately attacks Baby Godzilla, which
well, I mean, Space Godzilla for the first time in a while is actually like a true villain.
Yeah,
like he's actually an evil character.
Oh yeah, he's Like, I can't think of too many characters that actually just, like, kidnap the kid straight off and torture it a little bit. And this isn't like the Gary Coleman looking Minya or the dinosaur looking one that came later. This is, no argument, I will accept, the cutest baby Godzilla ever. I love it.
Looks like a friggin' Care Bear.
It does, and I want to hug it. Because I think we're about the same height. So
No, it was bigger than you.
he might weigh more than me, but I think I'm taller.
I mean, that's one of my issues with a lot of these Godzilla films is like how drastically the size of these characters changes.
Oh yeah. So Space Godzilla has something called a Corona Beam, which comes off of his crown, because that's what Corona means. Godzilla's overwhelmed
And overweight.
Yeah. Then Space Godzilla
This
takes off
dude
for
looks
Japan.
chubby.
Yeah. Well, I mean, most of the monsters from the Showa era on kind of have pot bellies, except maybe King Caesar and the flying
King
ones.
Caesar?
Kamacuras and Ibira. They don't have stomachs, but I could, with my current body type, get into a Gigan suit from the Showa era, and nobody would know I would disappear. So, there's all kind of human shit going on here, like the Yakuza abduct Mickey, and they want her to control Godzilla, and she's saved, obviously. Mogira gets there, and then it's a huge fight, and it's actually a kind of an awesome fight, I think.
Yeah, the whole second half of the movie is just a big battle.
Yeah. It's how do you? Granted, this one did have a little more human story that interacted with the monsters directly, as opposed to in Godzilla versus Gigan, where like, oh, we're building a Godzilla world. Oh shit, he showed up.
Well, I found that the human stories in this was actually what I had an issue with. So I did do a tiny bit of research.
Okay.
That when this was made, there was originally the version we watched was about an hour and 45 minutes.
Oh, I didn't even look.
I think it was about an hour 45, maybe an hour 50. But there was like a 2 hour and 20-minute cut of this when it was originally released.
Oh.
So all of those stories, like the Yakuza, Baby Godzilla getting kidnapped,
Yeah.
all of that stuff doesn't seem to really make a whole lot of sense.
Okay.
In this cut of it, because basically they were like, listen, all of the Godzilla movies have been between 100 and 100, or between like 90 and 100 minutes. We need to get this to that because that's the sweet spot for it. So they started to trim all that stuff away.
Okay.
And there's a lot of little like story arcs that like are just barely there and then like aren't addressed again, or like all of a sudden disappear because like Space Godzilla kidnaps Baby Godzilla, and then we never see Baby Godzilla again until he's back on the island at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So I guess there was a bunch of stuff where they took out of Godzilla interacting with the baby Godzilla to show that like Godzilla is an actual father to this child and not just like this monster that shows up every now and then. Like he actually shows him, like they show him like I think there was like scenes filmed where like Godzilla's like teaching him things, or like he's like there's a little bit of protecting him, but like there's a lot more to that apparently.
Well,
in the other cut.
like we had in the earlier terrible ones where he's
go fight big guys.
Yeah, he's stepping on his tail to get him to fire at what's the spider's name? Is it Kamacuras? No.
No.
Oh shit.
Talking to the wrong dude over here.
The fucking spider's name. Anyway. Yeah, I didn't notice that because I've never really watched Godzilla movies for the humans. Honestly,
No, I don't disagree. I agree with you. My favorite Godzilla film is versus Monster Zero. And it's the type of thing where like those little stories in that one are just enough to keep you going and have you like paying attention to like what's going on. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I do
And-
feel different about Shin Godzilla though, because Shin Godzilla sort of feels like the humans are all trying to figure out what to do with this active nuclear device in the middle of the city that could go off at any time that they can't remove. So it is dependent on the humans, and that's a great way to bring the two together. Also, Shin Godzilla is more of a blank-minded just path of destruction.
Right.
Not like
and even
here.
then in the legendary Godzilla, their MonsterVerse, like it's driven by the humans because it's just presented in such a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, this is your classic campy Godzilla, like your original, from like the original franchise that you watch, and like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna get a bunch of guys in rubber suits, like throwing each other around and knocking down paper mache buildings and shit.
It is literally like professional wrestling. The side stories are great, the outside the ring stuff, but you don't necessarily need that to enjoy the actual reason you're there.
Yeah, I mean that's why stuff like Kaiju Big Battle is so popular.
Yep. Space Godzilla has a fantastic design, which initially, like I said, I thought was kind of goofy because of the giant shoulders. But when he's flying in and he's tucked under that little crystal half egg, I'm like, that the first time I saw it, it was amazing because he looks, his face, his head isn't moving, his mouth is closed. He looks unbelievably pissed off just because of the design, and that's great. But it's a realistic resting angry face, like the xenomorph has exposed teeth and all of that, but when the face is resting, it doesn't have that. You get a lot of these cover boxes on horror movies, and the monster has this permanent, like, angled eyebrows, huge sharp fangs that don't look like they're useful for eating at all. And monsters need to be either they're a mutated form of something, so they don't have to fit in like the natural order of things, because Godzilla clearly is a mutated creature, but came from a natural life form.
Right.
Things have to have a normal face, a resting face. I don't give this movie credit for a lot, but the creatures in Avatar, they could look scary, but they also look normal when they weren't, yelling or trying to intimidate anybody. But for Space Godzilla, I think that works because it seems that he was born out of the anger of everything on Earth and the fury of a black hole. So,
right. Well, I mean, you always forget to and obviously these films don't really address it in the way that maybe some of the legendary films and other, or when you saw something like Cloverfield, Godzilla may be there to defend the the Earth or whatever against whatever's happening, but in the process of him defending it, millions of people get killed.
Yeah.
These movies don't show that at all.
No.
But I mean, they lay waste to an entire city in Japan.
Yeah.
And you're okay, yeah, hundreds of thousands of people, if not a million people, probably died in this big giant battle. It's yeah, the Earth's safe, but we're all dead.
Right. It comes at what cost, right? It's cheesy,
right.
but that's yeah.
And they look at that a little bit in this, which is why they want to try to control Godzilla using the mind control so that he doesn't just come in and just step all over everyone's grandmother.
Yeah. Yeah. Kamunga is the giant spider. I don't know why I couldn't think of that before. Probably because I said Kamacuras and that kind of Kamakura or whatever you want to call it, and that just kind of
Kid Icarus. I love that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kid Icarus was dope.
Don't put the cartridge too close to the sun or it'll melt.
So you had mentioned the monster design in this. Let's talk just a little bit about some of the the breath effects and the lightning, and there's the extra crystals that are on Earth.
Yeah.
To what's the deal with all that?
The crystals are kind of if I remember correctly, it's to give him a home field advantage almost.
So are they part of like a hive mind or like what?
You know what?
I was kind of confused by that because the crystal showed up first and crashed on the island, but like then he was able to create more of them.
Yeah.
So I was just a little not necessarily confused. I was just like, what's the deal here with all this crystal meth?
You know, I never. I'm looking it up now because I've never actually really looked it up. Space Godzilla increases in power being near the crystals he creates.
Okay.
So he can also unleash bolts of energy from the shoulder crystals. So it almost sounds like he creates his own symbiotic environment.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Which is actually a really interesting idea.
It is interesting, yeah. Okay, I'm down.
Yeah.
I'm down with that.
Oh, sorry. The
All right.
corona beam comes out of his mouth. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking.
I don't know either, and I didn't even
Jesus.
think twice about it when you said it.
No,
so,
but
all right.
if you're gonna build me up as knowing shit, I gotta actually pretend like I do know shit.
I mean, I only said that you knew marginally more than me, so don't worry about it. I don't think the Godzilla Society is going to come after you at any point.
Yeah, there's so much to learn about Godzilla. Like I never bothered with like learning the differentiations between the different eras.
Right.
But now I am because I'm older. I'm not a teenager. I'm not a kid. So more than just the monsters interest me. Like I want to know how it was done, what the problems were, how did you arrive at this design? When are you going to fight Gamera and Ultraman? For fuck's sake, come on.
I really find it one thing that kind of, and again, here's me splitting hairs over things. How the timeline of these movies like essentially runs in like a real life timeline, but like Godzilla seems to flatten Tokyo like every other year.
Oh yeah,
but yet they seem to be able to keep rebuilding it. Like
yeah, no,
that's why like
yeah. Go ahead.
I like in the legendary stuff where like, yeah, Boston's gone, dude.
Yeah,
like, it ain't coming back.
Yeah, but then back then
you need at least.
Back then, all of our sitcoms and TV shows, no matter what happened, by the next week, everything was fine. So
right, and I get that. And like I said, that's why it's splitting hairs.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel bad that one tiny strip of land in the ocean is where all the monsters seem to gravitate.
What are you gonna do, man?
It's like they all. It's like be like if they all found Hawaii at once.
I know, right? They're like, it's really nice here. Do you see the pineapples? Do you recommend, I think is obvious, and what is your grade for Godzilla versus Space Godzilla, or Gojira versus Super Gojira?
I am going to recommend this, but I am going to say, too, that Godzilla movies, they're every one of them is like, they have their own exceptions, I feel like, to each one. And for this one, it's, you know, for a lot of them actually, it's just go with the story. You're here to watch interesting monster designs and fun stuff and special effects and shit blowing up, and you really do know what you're getting into going into a Godzilla movie up to, let's say, Final Wars.
Yeah, Final Wars is something different and something special. I love
Final Wars is like I have different favorites depending on how I feel. And Final Wars is definitely like an Avengers movie where I like, you know, all right, I want to see a bunch of stuff. But there's also a bunch of throwbacks to other movies, a bunch of references to stuff, which I really enjoyed too. But that's not the one we're talking about. So, but this, you know,
but also just to mention, what I like about Final Wars is that they do somewhat follow the canon and also give you the wink and nod at the same time.
Yes. And a redesigned Gigan that wasn't terrible. Redesigned sometimes
Gigan,
can
man.
be
Why
bad.
don't you just get married already? Talk about him so much.
Well, because it's an empty rubber suit. So I'd
Whatever,
wear it.
dude.
I would wear that shit to work if I had one of those suits.
Could you imagine rolling into work dressed up as Godzilla, like with just like not like the head on, just like the suit? You're like, I need you guys to know it was me. I have the head if you need me to put it on, but like you're sitting at your little console there doing the subtitling.
Just three
and you're, like,
fingers.
standing up, just being like, "It's fine, it's fine."
I got this.
I might need some overtime this week, boss.
I would have to do it in winter because that suit would be so hot I'd die. Absolutely die.
Is what it is. Be worth it though.
It might be. It might be. Yeah, this one, it's an A minus. Most A minus, B plus. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I mean, like most things, I definitely feel different about these movies depending on my mood. So I'll go B minus. I'll go with that. I don't think it's an A. I don't know if any Godzilla movie.
B minus or B plus?
Plus. Yeah, that's it. Plus.
B plus. Okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Cool. All right.
I'm just not in a
yeah, I'm gonna
judgmental
recommend
mood
it.
today. So
That's fair. That's fair. I'm gonna recommend it. It's not. I'll recommend it. I'm gonna recommend it. It's not my favorite, and it had been a while since I had seen it. I don't know how long, but it had been a while. I do really appreciate the effort that went into attempting to give cohesive storytelling in this, though. Unfortunately, a lot of that stuff ended up getting cut out when they delivered it. But, you know, the idea of, like, where he came from with the particles and the black hole stuff. And, like, yeah, it sounds, like, crazy and out there, but I'm glad it's there.
yeah, but it's a Godzilla movie, right? So
Right,
what are you gonna do?
I mean, I could do without the little Godzilla. I get, like, yeah, it's adorable, but it doesn't really need to be there.
No, but it does play up through it. He plays an important part through the next movie, though.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Again, understand its place, don't necessarily love it.
Fair.
So I'm gonna give it a little bit lower than you, not drastically. I'm gonna give it a straight B.
Yeah.
You know, if I was to rank it in my Godzilla films, I would say it's probably, I don't know, it's in the top 10. 6 or 7 maybe.
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. 7, maybe 8.
Also, I want to just give a mention to this movie. Did something that I don't think a lot of places, a lot of studios would consider, because it's basically, hey, let's redesign our main character and make him a bad guy.
Yeah, right.
And that sounds like a terrible idea, but they nailed it.
I mean, it's long lost evil twin.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. But they did it. They did it well. That's impressive. That's
no, it's
that's
good.
impressive
It's
to
good.
me. Yeah.
It's good. It's good. Speaking of good,
Oh, I don't know if you could say that.
I was gonna say I don't think From Dusk Till Dawn 2 is gonna be.
Oh
gonna
shit,
fall
that's
into
what
that.
it is, right? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm
Well,
laughing
let's see
already.
what Joe thought of. Let's see what Joe thought.
Well, hello, Bill. Hello, Chris, and hello, OTC Nation. It's your boy Joe here, and, well, this week Bill took me from the movie theater to the video store, because he made me watch From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Texas Blood Money.
That's what it was.
Oh, fellas, I've unraveled a conspiracy. This goes deeper than Operation Paperclip or the Edgewood facility. Any flat earth dorks need to pull their heads out of their asses and get on what really matters here. When I searched on my PlayStation for this movie, it listed the IMDb score at 4.5 stars. And that's out of 5. Something didn't seem right. You heard me right, you unwoke slobs. 4.5 goddamn stars for a movie we all know did not get 4.5 stars. Yet, when I just searched IMDb's website, 2 stars.
Yeah.
Now, this is bigger than Jack Palance possibly accidentally reading Marissa Tomei's name because it was the only one he could remember. Stars have been artificially inflated here, and someone needs to answer for it. I'm gonna Aaron Brockovich this motherfucker until justice is... Ugh. It's exhausting making fun of conspiracy theory. I don't even know how those dorks do it. Listen up, wannabe Art Bells. The Earth is round. Our government does terrible shit, and there's nothing you can do about it. And even if Elvis didn't die back then, he's most likely certainly dead by now. So calm down.
Wait, what movie are we talking about?
Maybe somebody should have calmed down before they decided to go with this script, huh? You know that meme that's been going around for a while? Like, hey, Mom, can we get From Dusk Till Dawn? No, honey, we have From Dusk Till Dawn at home. This movie is homemade from dusk till dawn. But that's the whole thing behind straight-to-video sequels of theatrical hits. They lack the passion and the drive of someone making their first film on the cheap and getting lucky enough to get distribution because that movie already got made. What you're seeing is the cheap carbon copy that probably got bumped down to the major studio's little subsidiary company because they know damn well there's a very reliable audience there, but they don't have to pump the amount of money and resources into making a theatrical sequel. I'm looking at you, Disney. And I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I just wish they would put a little more into it. Anyway, the T-1000 needed to pay the rent that month, and now he's a redneck putting together a crew to rob like a bank that's doing money laundering. It's a whole operation down in old Mexico. It takes the entire first third of the film for this to happen because whatever community college film student wrote this was obviously a huge Tarantino fan. And yes, Tarantino, while a bit one note and, horrible person, does indeed write great dialogue. But that doesn't mean that you can too, Skippy. They even do that thing that Tarantino does to fill time, where one of the criminals knows this really fucked up story, and he tells it to the rest of the crew, and they show it to you in flashback.
I hate that.
That's maybe the worst part about that film. And it kind of connects with the best part of this film, but I should probably save that for the thing. So, the leader of the crew, who just broke out of jail, gets turned into a vamp by Danny Trejo, even though Danny Trejo got super killed in the first film. And the crew leader then proceeds to one by one turn the crew into vampires while simultaneously executing the robbery that they had planned when they still had a pulse. Or at least when he still had a pulse. For now. Now, the only one of these dipshits to even kind of suspect anything is the T-1000, who is probably fine here because he's made of liquid metal and, I don't know, presumably some nanobots floating around in there to keep it all together.
Yeah, probably.
But seriously, from the moment vampire shit starts happening, these hardened criminals are more clueless than Alicia Silverstone.
Oh.
And not even Alicia Silverstone in the movie Clueless. Alicia Silverstone in real life, super wacko, new age, feed your kids like a baby bird by chewing their food and spitting it into their mouths. Clueless Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah, I didn't need to remember that today.
Say or think what you will about criminals, but successful ones, by and large, have a pretty good gut feeling for when things aren't quite right. Mm-hmm. Not these fellas. They're easier prey than a hamster in a field with a hawk circling overhead. That would be an analogy, but since I live in the country now, I've actually seen that shit happen, and it's pretty incredible. But I'm padding for time here. Kind of like this movie. They rob the bank. It goes predictably awry. There's vamps in the bank, cops outside, and Robert Patrick, the T-1000, is caught in the middle with me, sitting here watching this movie that I'm honestly a little bit conflicted about, but again, I'll get to that. Big standoff between the cops and the vamps. Some cops die, some vamps die. It's all pretty by the numbers, and Peacemaker's racist dad gets saved by the sunup. They do the thing where the ranger who was chasing the criminals even before they lost their reflection and the football coach from the faculty are suddenly best friends because they've been through this super traumatic thing, and I get it. But then we're out. They hit the credits, and here's the thing. The good. No bullshit. This movie was better than I remembered it being when I rented it in 1998 or something. Much better, actually, if you can believe that. They did some cute, albeit a little cartoonish camera tricks. They managed to kind of keep a little bit of that feel, but, it's straight to video, so they cheesed it up a little bit. So, bottom line, the good, better than you remember it being. The bad, still not very good. I'm going to be real nice and give this movie a C, almost a C+. I'll be back next week with Dusk Till Dawn 3, The Hangman's Daughter, which I haven't seen. Hopefully it's at least better than this, but I don't expect it will come close to the original. We'll find out. Until then, be good, everyone.
I think that's the one with John Bon Jovi as the main guy. Yeah.
Why?
I think, too...
Yeah.
I was just going to say that he said it was better than he remembered it being, and I believe it's because in the 20-something years since it was released, we've watched so many more movies that were so much worse. That's what I think. I'm sorry. Continue.
I don't know why the imagination in vampire movies is so low. Like, you're immortal creatures at that point. Why are you doing boring human shit? Like, if you're gonna retread the original movie, why even bother?
Money.
You know, you're not making Evil Dead 2 over here. So
no, but you are making pay.
Yeah, but I mean, throw something.
Someone's paying for it. Someone's making it.
Get something. Have an original thought. They're fucking vampires. God damn it. People fuck up vampires all the time.
This is true. Speaking of fucking vampires, here's
can't wait to see how this plays out.
Do I sound like I'm on old time radio?
No, but you do sound like you're about to introduce a whole bunch of acid jazz on NPR at 2:00 in the morning on a Sunday.
Acid jazz. Actually, I feel like it's more like classic soul. Get that classic soul voice. What's up, everybody? You're listening to The Quiet Storm. Coming up later this hour, we got some James Ingram, some Babyface, and some Kenny Lattimore. But let's get it all started with a little classic P-Funk. That's right, Funkadella coming at you from the mothership on The Quiet Storm.
What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott.
Yeah, let's get this over with.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. Surprise, it's Reverend Scott.
Life is a constant tonal shift. This was a welcome surprise.
And in this day and age, it's refreshing for Hollywood to come out with a big budget sequel. They just never seem to do that.
If you lie about it, that's just going to come back and bite you in the ass.
I'll tell you all about the sequel that bit me in the ass recently in a minute. But first, let's give a pointless grade to some crap Chris is really sick of watching.
Chris is real fed up with the stuff I'm picking for the show. So.
Oh my God.
Starting out with Auntie Lee's meat pies. Boy, whatever could those be made of? Whatever is in those, it sounded like Bill has been eating them.
If you think I sound bad now, you should have heard what I sounded like yesterday. Like real bad. Does it sound as bad as I think it does?
Yes it does. So does this movie. Tell us about the plot, Chris.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, but with more girls.
Also, according to Chris, this is about 60% House of a Thousand Corpses. So I give House of a Thousand Corpses a B. So I'll give this 60% of that grade. So it gets a C minus, I think. Letter math is hard. But I give your review a B plus. But let's move on now to Killer's Delight, or whatever it is. You called it like 3 different titles. None of them good. Tell us about the plot, Chris.
I watched this guy play basketball with his oddly large son with a mustache for way too long.
Sounds great. This has some cops tracking down a killer, but did they do a good job doing that? Well, depends on who you ask.
They figure out who the killer is using some pretty good police work, right?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, for 70s cops, they did the best they could in between basketball games and shit.
Right. But they used like they went to like a psychic and they were able to get the license plate and then they used DMV to deduct.
Yeah, a psychic. They went to a psychic. That's great police work. Hey, lady, guess. Okay, good. We'll do that.
Sounds like the best movie ever, and I know Bill loved it. Any other favorite movies like this you can recommend, Bill?
Goddess, That's Erotic, Sweet Cheeks, Reflections of Lust, The Ultimate Fantasy.
I'll have to look those up on my work computer later. Anyway, I give Killer's Delight a B, and I give the review a B+. So that's it for your movies.
Got it?
I got it. I'm good.
Got it.
I'm
All
good.
right.
We're done. We're done with those. They were boring.
Right.
But was my movie boring? Well, guess you'll have to wait longer to find out, because I went to your boy the movie theater to watch Top Gun in IMAX.
Oh, fantastic. I've been wanting to watch that again.
Of course you have. Dusty,
What do you mean?
Except this wasn't the regular old 80s Top Gun. This was the big budget, long-awaited sequel, Top Gun Maverick. That's right, I got to see Tom Cruise on a screen that made him almost look average height. And he's back in the Top Gun Elite program. But this time, John Hamm wants him to train the new recruits for a mission that's ripped right out of Star Wars A New Hope, including a winding, low-altitude pathway by missile turrets with enemy fighters nearby, down to the ventilation needed to have a precise shot blasted down it. Of course, it gets even more difficult from there, basically making it a suicide mission. But you don't just get to go straight to the mission. No, you need to see aircraft carrier montages set to danger zone, Maverick courting the pretty Jennifer Connelly, a team of cocky young Top Gun cadets, Maverick wearing shades going fast on his motorcycle, shirtless beach football, and Maverick flying 500 miles an hour within inches of another plane doing an upside-down simulated dogfight. And if all that sounds like pandering to the original film's audience, you're correct. And if you think that sounds like it's terrible to watch, you are incorrect. Because to be quite honest, it's pretty fucking great. And sure, this mission has training that's on limited time and has huge consequences, but that's not all. If you guess that Maverick's ex-dead co-pilot Goose had a son that grew up to be in this very same Top Gun program that has a mustache that looks just like Goose's and is played by Whiplash's very own Miles Teller, you would be correct. There's a lot of tension and drama to be had with those two, and right when you think you have this movie peg, it starts throwing curveballs at you. It goes several places and adds a lot to the unpredictability, conflict, and problem solving. Oh, and there's one man that cannot be left out of a Top Gun sequel, and that man is Iceman himself, Val Kilmer. If they didn't include him, they would have been left looking at the script thinking,
what was my point?
They not only find ways to include Val Kilmer, who's still recovering from devastating throat cancer in real life, but make his inclusion make sense, establish a lifelong friendship and mutual respect between him and Maverick, and work in his current state of health into the film in a natural and respectful way for Val Kilmer. It's not always easy to work around real-life constraints like that, but I think they pulled it off amazingly well. I had virtually no expectations for Top Gun Maverick, to be honest, and it ended up blowing me away. Okay, Bill, do the thing.
Do you recommend him?
Close enough. Okay, while it's not necessarily the best movie I've ever seen, the mix of a well-paced, action-packed, fun-to-watch movie with the right amount of fan service makes this an A- movie for me. And if you love Top Gun, it's a high recommend. I look forward to seeing it again, actually. Okay, that's it for me this week, but make sure you all tune in next week to Outside the Cinema when Chris insults my recording setup.
You might be good, but it sounds like shit. Did you record this in a shed? Like, what are you doing?
That's a little harsh. And then Chris talks about trying to walk around carrying his massive penis.
It's like moving a huge water balloon that won't break, all flopping around and everything. But you know how like a water balloon, like if you pick it up in the middle, it'll droop to the sides or whatever, and it'll try to. Okay. So gravity will always try to pull it down. So
you should see a doctor about
all that and so many other water balloon gravity pulled penises. But until then, peace and love, guys.
You definitely sound down.
I don't.
Not out,
right.
But down.
Well, you know what'll pick you up? King's cigarettes. If you want to smoke like royalty, smoke King's.
Nice. Don't smoke, kids. It fucking sucks.
No, don't smoke, kids. If you don't want to smoke, eat candy.
Eat King's cigarettes.
Eat King.
Just don't smoke them.
All right, everybody. Thank you for hanging out with us this week. Our Patreon picks. Thank you to Rob and to Josh. We'll have 2 more next week. Follow us on all the Instagrams at OTC Bill at Cthulhu. The Facebook group is there. Go to Facebook groups and search Outside the Cinema. That's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it. Everyone have a good week. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.